This evening I'm going to be talking about goal setting and planning, but from a Toastmasters point of view. And I've got a few things I'm going to go through with you. Oops, I'm going to switch this off. So, in a second I'm going to show you a picture. And I'm going to ask you to think about why you're at Toastmasters and what your goals are. Then I'm going to look at a reminder of what the mission is at Toastmasters. What is it that Toastmasters has set up for us, that we come in here week after week? Now we have a lot of new members, so I'm going to have a brief run through of the education program, so you get a flavour of the wealth of material that is available to us all, and should be taken up by all of us. Then I'm going to give you my take on what I believe you need to do to succeed. Then I'm going to take a trip back from the future and give you an idea of how to go about goal setting the smart way. And then finally I'm going to give you some practical information to take away with you where I look at some goal planning. Okay, so let's take a look. When you see this photograph, each of us will look at this in different ways. But essentially, it asks you to ask yourselves, why have you come to Toastmasters? For some of you, it's to make lots of money because you become a great communicator and you get up in front of millions of people and you speak. For some of you, you want to create something brand new, bring birth to a new idea. Maybe some of you have got the opportunity to soar with the eagles rather than to scratch with the turkeys. I'd like you to just take a second to ask yourselves why you came to Toastmasters and what your goals are for this year and subsequent years. Coupled with this, let's take a look at the mission that Toastmasters has granted us. I'll let you read it, but essentially it's for us to develop our speaking skills. But it's more than just speaking, as you know. It's also our listening skills, our ability to listen and give feedback to our colleagues around us. It's the ability to stand up with very, very short notice and be able to answer a question that you have not heard before. And it's also to take charge of your own learning, to lead a club, to lead your business, to lead whatever you wish to lead. This is our mission. Coupled with this, we've got the education track. Now, for a lot of members, I'm sure there are a few members here tonight who've never seen this. But essentially, you're not just here to do speaking. There's more to Toastmasters than just the speaking. There's also the leadership. The education system is divided into what they call two tracks. One is the communication track, divided up into the competent communicators manuals, the advanced communicators bronze, silver and gold. Each one of these challenges us to develop ourselves as speakers by analysing different aspects of what it is to become a good speaker. So when you do the competent communicator manual, you're challenged to deliver 10 speeches. And then once you graduate from that, you get an opportunity, and I say opportunity because you can choose what the advanced manuals are going to be that you choose. And you get an opportunity for your bronze to do another 10 speeches. And they don't have to be the same manuals. You can have, you've got a choice of 15 manuals. Fantastic range. And then once you've completed those, you can go on to the silver, another 10 speeches, plus some extra projects to work on, then the gold, again, another 10 speeches. And at the end of it, you are really a fantastic speaker. You've learned to practice and plan. You've done the impromptu. You've evaluated. It's extraordinary what this will turn you into. That's not the only thing. You must not ignore the lower part of this sheet here, which is the leadership track. And it's not really about leading other people, it's leading yourself. It's getting yourself to come to Toastmasters when you would probably prefer to go down a pub or you've got something else going on. That's what it's all about. I've learned more about being a great speaker doing the evaluation roles than I did of actually doing the speaking. Because I've learned to listen to my colleagues. I listen to the good, the fantastic, the awful, it doesn't matter. I listen and you learn from each person. Every person counts. I listen to great speakers and I think, God, I want to be like that. Knowing that I shouldn't be like that because I want to be more of me. And this is what it's doing, it's making me more of me. And that's the thing that most of you should get into your head. You want to be more of you more than somebody else. Because you've all got great things to say. This is the place to try and get that out in a friendly environment where you'll get great feedback every time. All you have to do is ask. The leadership track, the competent leader, seems to cause an awful lot of people a lot of difficulty. It shouldn't. You should be volunteering every time you come to a meeting. I'll do the timekeeper. What a great role. I'll do the grammarian. Fantastic role. You can even come out with new words like altruistic. Or you can even pronounce it altruistic. Or you can do whatever you like. But it gives you that opportunity to do many different roles. And then you've got the opportunity to do the very, very difficult table topics evaluations. They're tricky. You've only got a few minutes to evaluate 3 to 4 people and to give them some positive feedback. It's fantastic. If you get through, and I hope everyone does, get through the Competent Leadership Manual, then you've got the wonders of the advanced leadership areas, where you get the opportunity, as Jacqueline is at the back, is to take on different projects. One project is called the High Performance Leadership Manual. It's a year-long project, a fantastic opportunity for you to put together a team. Something that sometimes when you're at work, you never get that opportunity. Here, you've got the opportunity to choose the team. You've got the opportunity to choose the topic. Absolutely fantastic. It took me a while to get my head around that, but when I did, whew, I thought, fantastic, this is amazing, absolutely amazing. And then once you complete all of those, you get the award from completing both tracks. You can't just do it from one track, you have to do both tracks. You become the distinguished Toastmaster, and you wear a badge like this with great pride. And Hilary wears her one also with great pride. Now some people say, oh, but Pedro, this is taking so long. What do you mean so long? What's the value you're placing on the so long here? The time's going to go past. You're going to learn so much. I'm still learning. Even though I've been here, this is my 10th year at Toastmasters. It's a fantastic place to learn. Always an opportunity. Never forget it. Don't give up. I mean, there's too many members who, oh, it's too tough to come. I can't write a speech. What do? They don't come. Give up. Oh, I've got too much to do at work. I've got this. It's just excuses. This is the thing that's going to drive everything you do. Being able to communicate effectively. You're going to do it at home with your families. You do it at work. You do it in the street. You do it everywhere. You communicate. And it's amazing how poor people are. You don't have to come here too often to stand out wherever you are. But you've got to keep coming. So, this is my take on what I believe you need to do to succeed at Toastmasters. First thing is speak and take part. Don't be passive about it. We have a VP of Education who is waiting to hear from you. Let her know what you fancy doing the next week, the next year, the next meeting. Put your hand up, volunteer. Come, do. The manuals are exceptionally brilliant at teaching you to plan what it is that you're trying to get your message across. It teaches you organisation. And then, working with a mentor, you learn how to deliver. And it's exceptionally brilliant doing that. Evaluations. I believe evaluations is what turned me into not a boring speaker, but into a good speaker. Because I had the experience of people misunderstanding what I was saying. And if I was being misunderstood, then it led me to think that, well, they're not understanding me either. So I really worked hard at it, and my speaking became better by working on evaluation. So I encourage everyone to put your hand up, do an evaluation. It's absolutely fantastic. Table topics. Scares most people, scares me too. But the fact is, the more you do, the easier it becomes. It might take a few years before you become really comfortable, but nevertheless, the more you do, the more you do. Timer. The timer is one of those underrated roles. You get the opportunity to come up 3 times to speak in front of the club about that role. It's absolutely brilliant. Grammarian, as we've heard tonight, you get the opportunity to come up with great words, and then you get the opportunity to listen to it, what everyone has been speaking about, and then you feedback. Fantastic. Toastmaster. You've been invited to be a Toastmaster, and I would thoroughly recommend it. It is difficult, but it is absolutely so rewarding to be able to conduct the whole of the evening, tell people all the changes, do all the introductions. Brilliant job. So that's my take on it. Well, I met up with a colleague a little while ago who just came back from the future. I know, it's one of those things, watching too many films, but she came back with some fantastic tips, which I'm going to share with you today. And they're all about goal setting. That's the old chestnut. But it's not just any old goal setting, no. This is smart goal setting. Oh yes. Some of you may already know what SMART is all about, some of you don't. But she added an extra thing. Yes, SMART's great, but make sure they're aligned. So let's take a look at what's a SMART goal then. First one, specific. What is it exactly you're trying to achieve in your goal? I know, easy goal. Complete the Competent Communicators Manual. Yeah, specific. I know exactly what I want to do. Then Ash was talking about this earlier. Yeah, get the old tape measure out and measure that you've actually done it. Well, it's easy enough. You've got 10 projects in the Competent Communicators Manual. You've got 10 projects in the Competent Leadership Manual. Easy to measure what you're doing. But nothing will happen unless you take action. Absolutely, it's funny, but it's amazing. Yeah, I've got a great goal here. Yep, got a great goal. Yep, I've got a great goal. It's a really great goal. So what is the action you're going to take? Unless you take action, nothing's going to happen. So an action could be, you ring up Jacqueline and say, please, I'd like to have a mentor. Arrange it for me, please. Or better than that, you go up to a member of the club and say, could you please mentor me? Or if you can't, can you recommend somebody who can? Take action. Ring up the VPE, put me onto the next program, please. I want a slot. Take action. Get home tonight, write down 10 possible, or if it's too much, 5 possible speech titles that you could deliver over the course of the year. Go through the manual, see where they fit. Take some action. But please make sure they're realistic. Oh, so I have some Toastmasters, I've got a wedding speech in 6 weeks' time. I want to be really good at doing this public speaking business. So do you think I could do all 10 speeches in 6 weeks? What can you do with people like that? Or we do have other members who say, do you know that Competent Communicator, it's only 10 speeches, I can do that in a year. Yeah, no problem. What they fail to realise is, how many meetings do we have in the course of the year? Well, I tell you, 22. The rule in the club is, for every speech you give, you do 2 roles. So you do the maths. Is it possible to do 10 speeches? No. So, if you really want to do 10 speeches, what do? You do what this gentleman has done. You go to visit another club, and you sign up with the other club, and you deliver your speeches there. But, let us stay here, take your time, do all your learnings here, complete it in a reasonable time. 2 years. I took 2 years to do my Competent Communicator Manual, and I do not regret spending that time. I'm so pleased I took that time, because it's all the learnings in between the speeches. It's the talking in the pub after the meetings. It's everything else, taking all the roles, and you take all that goodness in. Because it takes time. It takes me a lot of time to write a good speech. I have to think about it, just state in my mind. I have to go work it through and change it. And then you get up and you try and deliver it, and it turns out to be different from the one that was going in your head. Nevertheless, try and make it realistic. And then time bound. this one is coupled to the one before, realistic. There's no point you saying I've got to do all this by the end of the year, and then you don't show up for half the year. Well, it just doesn't work that way. Make a commitment that you're going to do what you're going to do to achieve your goals, but make sure you're realistic. So, SMART. All got it? Specific, measurable, action-oriented, realistic, and time-bound. So I mentioned another thing, aligned. This is the best picture I could find for aligned. Well, how about this? I met a Toastmaster, and she wants to become really big in her business. So she's given an opportunity. Now the opportunity means extra study. It means staying behind at work, working longer hours. At the same time, she wants to meet the love of her life. And recently she did. She met this really nice guy, getting on fine, everything's going fantastic. Things start to go wrong. She's spending too much time at work. He's getting fed up. He wants to see her in the evenings. The goals start to clash. So when you are thinking about goals, it's better to have fewer goals that you can stick to, and then align them with other goals than have too many goals where you get this type of conflict going on. So be careful when you are setting up a goal. I've had too many people say to me, I want to do the CC, I'm going to do everything that it takes, and then they find that they're neglecting other areas of their life. In a moment, I will show you about goal planning to give you some tips about making it more realistic for yourselves. So there's our SMART and aligned goals. A recap on our education system. Now, let's take a look at some goal planning. I've put together a spreadsheet which each one of you, all you have to do is to send me an email if you want this, and I will send it to you. It's not going to be done for you, but most of it is. On this spreadsheet, you will see we've got the months of the year, starting from January all the way through to December, and then starting in January again. Then I put down the series. We meet second and fourth Mondays of the month, so we've got the 2 and the 4s in there, each Monday, then the date. I've based the model on here, I based it on a member who tonight would be delivering their icebreaker. So what I did was, against today's date, I put down icebreaker. Unfortunately, the next meeting, this particular member can't attend. But the following meeting, they're going to take part in the table topics evaluator, which is part of the Competent Leadership Manual, part 1. So that's going to go on there. Second meeting, she feels that she only wants to take part in table topics, so she's going to do that. Following meeting, she's going to take on the role of grammarian. She's been working in the meantime with her mentor, so by the 9th of April, she's ready to do speech number 2. The next meeting turns up is the International Speech Contest. This may or not be the right date, but I put it down as an illustration. She can't speak in the contest, but she can take part and do other roles there. And so on, all the way through to the end of the year. So by this ranking of planning, 1 speech, 2 roles, you can do 5 speeches if you're a brand new member starting in January. This is not going to be set in stone. What I urge you to do is to take this, fill it in, and then go to your own calendar at work and see if it's realistic. Is it time specific? For example, yes, everything seems to be filled in, everything seems to be fine on there, but what about holidays? What about business trips? What I'm urging you to do is to get into your head that you can plan it like this, then add in the reality of what your circumstances are. But if you don't start to plan it, what tends to happen is we've had members who have taken 2 years to get to speech number 2. And they come, they attend the club, but they just don't get around to doing speech number 2 because they've never put it down on paper that that's something that they should do. They've got no way of knowing what should be coming up this year. They just turn up. But by forcing yourself like this to write down what you would like to achieve, you've got a better chance of achieving it. I've always done this. I did it from the day I arrived at Toastmasters. First thing I did was I grabbed hold of the manual and I took a notebook and I wrote down 10 speech titles. And then I tried to plot them against each of the projects. Now they didn't all work, and I didn't manage to achieve all those speeches within the time, but nevertheless, it gave me a good road to run on. So I knew what I was going to do for speech 6 well in advance of doing it. And I stuck to that all the way through. And I've done it consistently through my career at Toastmasters. I've taken over a year to find the right opportunities to deliver a speech title, which came to me ages ago. I couldn't find the right slot for it. But it's worth taking time to plan it through. Another thing to keep us on track is the D71 website. All of us have got access to this. How many of us know about the goal planner that has been introduced to the website? This is a place where you can go and set your goals and the system will track them for you. Everyone can see their own goals and each person will be able to see exactly what they've achieved over the course of the year. Because sometimes you forget. I did a speech 3 or 4 months ago, I can't remember what date. This will keep it in place for you. And if you remember to put the speech title in, it'll remember the speech title for you too. Because one of the things that you will be asked to do is once you've completed all your 10 speeches in the Competent Communicators Manual, you will be asked for the 10 titles, which need to be then submitted to Toastmasters so that you get your award. Similarly, we've got the Competent Leadership track there. All of this is on D71. When you log in next, on the left-hand side, you scroll down and you'll see it. You'll see it was Goal Tracker, Competent Communicator, Competent Leader, and you can find your name on there and you can see what's been filled in. As you can see on here, the ticks indicate what roles have been completed as part of the Competent Leadership Manual. You can see the blues are the ones that are still to be completed there. Okay. So to conclude, I hope you've had an opportunity to think about your own goals as you go ahead. If not, go home tonight, have a think about what it is that you are planning to do. If you're interested in my planner, just drop me an email and I'll send it to you. And then you can start to work it through yourself. One bit of action I'd like you to take. I want you to do something tonight that is going to push you ahead in Toastmasters. Either contact Jacqueline to get yourself a mentor. Go onto the D71 website, take a look at the goals. Send me an email. Talk to someone in the club and get a mentor. Talk to the VP Education at Elaine and put yourself onto the program. Take some action so that you can go off to the future for a fantastic Toastmasters career.